Now I'm going to show you how to roll a coil. So all I have is Play-Doh here to practice making a coil. You're going to first take the ball of Play-Doh and kind of squeeze it. A coil is like a rope, a worm, or a snake of clay. So I'm just rolling it in between my hands, okay? And what I'm going to keep trying to concentrate on is making the coil nice and even all the way across, okay? You don't want one end thick and then it's skinny in some spots and thick in other areas, because then your coil isn't very sturdy, and you want to stop when it's about as thick as your pinky. So I'm just going to take it, and it's a motion where you're just going to roll it back and forth. And as you're rolling, you're moving your hands out at the same time. So it does take some concentration to try to keep the coil nice and even. Take some practice. If you notice one area is getting a little thicker, you could just roll in that area. So I'm rolling forward and backward, and I'm stretching the coil out at the same time. Okay, every now and then, check it to see if it's as thick as your finger. So my pinky is still smaller than the coil, so I'm going to keep rolling. Making sure I'm concentrating to keep those coils, that coil, nice and even. It's almost there. Now you could use any clay. I just have Play-Doh here, so that's what I'm using. Okay, so that is about as thick as my pinky. Okay, and it looks pretty even to me. So the first step in making a coil pot is rolling your coil. Sometimes artists, they use a lot of clay and roll a lot of coils, so they have coils already. And then the next step is to stack. So we coil, we stack, and we merge. So I'm just going to start by creating a spiral to make like the bottom of a cup. And then I'm going to go up and stack these coils on top of each other. So if I turn it sideways, you can see how these coils are going on top of each other, okay? Now, if I would pick this up, this coil would just come apart. So we have to connect it somehow. And that's where merging comes in. So merging, let me take this one coil off, is when you take some of one coil and mush it, smooth it into the coil that's next to it. Now this is Play-Doh, so it might not get completely smooth, but you can see how I am connecting these coils by blending them together. So you want to try to make this as smooth as possible. You only have to do this on one side to connect it, but you could flip it over and do the other side. But a lot of artists like that coiling look, so they leave that there, okay? When you're stacking them on top of each other, you're going to merge one coil down to the space below it, or the coil below it. So I'm going to take my finger, I'm supporting my pot on the outside with my hand, so if I push, I don't make the outside wall collapse. So I'm going to take my finger and mush clay down. So you can see how here it is getting blended together. Over here, this coil is not connected yet. Okay, you can see that line there. So I'm going to support on the outside, blend and merge on the inside. Again, if you don't merge, it will all come apart. Okay, and just keep blending with your finger until it's smooth on the inside. Okay, so we're just practicing coiling, stacking, and merging. You could also add another coil, so where this coil stops, you could take another coil and start there and then keep going higher and higher.